way I see the situation with the adoption of electric cars is that it's much akin to when digital cameras first came out. A lot of people, they were saying that digital cameras are never going to catch on, and if it'll mostly be in the just the general users will use them, hobbyists, point and shoot, this sort of thing, but professionals will always use film. And look how fast that happened. It was the blink of an eye, and we're all using digital. And so the same thing's happening with electric cars. You know, we see a few people coming in and adopting them here and there, and so soon it will be a torrent of people adopting. And a lot of people are sort of just slowly absorbing the concept of electric cars, and then all of a sudden they make a decision, I've got to have one.
At some point I discovered that there was a Nissan Leaf out there and that the price point was becoming kind of affordable if you bought a used Nissan Leaf. I went out and test drove one and then kind of ran to the bank to figure out how we could make this happen. I bought this 18 months ago and I've been very, very pleased with this car ever since. A lot of it has to do with the new driving experience. Very quiet, a nice, comfortable level of acceleration.
I didn't realize how zippy and amazing these cars can be. And I also didn't realize that there is possibly one in my price range until a friend of mine got one on the island. So after speaking to her, I really, both me and my partner Luke just really got into researching them. And we found this super fun, customized Leaf. We've got a sunroof and leather seats and you know, backup camera and everything you'd need, and it's all electric.
In 2012 we had a customer that ordered a Leaf, and I hadn't been in one and hadn't seen one before and didn't really know what the deal was. Saw a TV commercial, that's all I knew. This Leaf came in, we picked it up, I drove the car and I was sold. I just freaked right out. I absolutely lost it. Told my wife, I got to have one of these cars. It's electric. You wouldn't believe it. Got to drive this car. And so technically the rest is history. We sold that to the customer. The customer loved it. Local guy here in North Saanich. I immediately got a hold of Nissan Motor Company, started buying off-lease cars, 2 at a time, then 4 at a time. Now we buy 6, 8, or 10 at a time. And it's a car that sells itself. It only took me one drive and I was sold. And now it's most of our business.
I love driving the car. It's a delight to drive. And I'm working on other people who are a bit more skeptical about electric cars to get them. They only have to drive it for a bit and they'll be, I think they'll be sold.
There's a number of different attributes that have made British Columbia really a good place for electric vehicles. One of which is that we have a relatively mild climate, which is good for EVs and their batteries. We also have the highest differential in price between electricity and the price of gasoline. So for people who are looking to buy an electric vehicle in BC, it's quite affordable, particularly when you look at the ongoing operations of the cars. Third reason, of course, is that we have quite clean electricity through our hydropower, so you are saving a lot of emissions by switching from gas to electric.
So now we have a battery checkup once a year, which is about $100, and lubricating door hinges, windshield wipers, cabin air filter, check the tires. It's really, really basic. There's about 2,500 parts, give or take, that are missing from an electric car that we find in a gas car, that are wear and tear items. All your internal component, engine parts, fuel system, exhaust system, all your engine management stuff, it's just not there. Belts, you know, there's just wear and tear stuff. Alternators, starter motors, clutches, torque converter, it's not there. So we don't have to spend the same kind of money on an EV as you would on a gas car, which is really exciting. Old cars that are cheap to run with little cheap 4-cylinder motors are great until you start paying the repair bills.
A lot of the success in British Columbia can be attributed to some provincial incentives that have happened since 2012 through the Clean Energy Vehicle Program. So we've had incentives for electric vehicles themselves, but also support for deployment of charging stations. And we've also had a lot of businesses and local governments and others who have supported the electric vehicle sector here by hosting their own charging stations, in some cases offering it for free, or in some cases offering a good rate to charge your car in their locations, either for their customers or for workplaces and employees. So that's helped quite a bit to support the electric vehicle market in general here.
We had several businesses that put in level 2 chargers. And in discussions, we thought, why not put this together with a car show? So we had several vendors, including Tesla and Nissan and Kia, as well as other interested parties like the Victoria Leaf Club, coming to Salt Spring to show off what they had. And we had a very successful event. We think there were about 1,000 people milling around the various events during the day. The remaining part of the show was car dealerships and clubs demonstrating cars at a couple of locations. I think we had about 6 different vendors. We had test drives all over the place. It was really fun to watch, and it was just an easy way for us as an islander to be able to access all these different transportation options at the same time. All electric.
Compared to the rest of Canada, British Columbia is doing quite well when it comes to electric vehicle uptake. We currently have the highest EV adoption rate in the country, and we also have the largest network of charging stations. We currently have 30 fast charge stations, and there's going to be more on the way. And we also have over 700 level 2, or what is also known as the medium speed of charging stations.
The electric car, you just start seeing advantage after advantage after advantage. You know, in it, one of the most frequent questions I get from people is, how long have you owned this car? And I tell them, well, it's just over a year now. And the second question that inevitably follows is, okay, now are you still as excited about it now as you were when you bought it? And it's one of those rare purchases that you get actually more appreciative of the vehicle the longer you own it, because you start to see these things that either you didn't see earlier on or didn't fully appreciate when you first got the car. And I find myself, you know, if I haven't driven the car for a little bit, I start thinking of a reason why I've got to go downtown or whatever.
You also have these other benefits for owning electric vehicles in BC, such as access to the HOV lane. And of course, it's quite convenient because you don't have to stop at gas stations anymore. Usually you're waking up with a full tank or a full battery because you're plugging in overnight and don't necessarily need to charge during the day.
The best part of this, of driving an electric vehicle for me, is that it slows me down. I want to drive efficiently. It has all the gadgets and it tells me exactly what I'm doing. So I'm actually driving slower. I'm driving the exact speed limit, and it feels really good.
The electric vehicle, I think, has got them beat. And the battery technology is improving, the costs are coming down, so there will still be some need for internal combustion engine transport, I guess, but I think it really will be pretty minimal.
I think there's a building groundswell that is coming. And I know from my own experience, once you get into an electric car, like I kept my other car, my Subaru, and that's my winter car up here on the mountain. And so I only drive it maybe 5% of the time. But when I get into that car, it feels like I'm going back to prehistoric times. You know, all of the racket and the shifting up and down and the total lack of smooth, steady power when you're accustomed to having smooth, steady power. Coming out of a curve on the mountain, heading up, electric car, it doesn't matter what speed you're at, you've got this complete huge amount of power on tap, and that is very, very addicting.
One might presume by going to new technology that you're maybe giving up something, but it seems to me that you're getting a lot by going to this new technology. It really is a different kind of driving experience, and As of today, I still love getting in my Leaf and going driving.
We have found that not everyone is fully aware about electric cars, and so there's still a lot of education that's needed. So over the last couple of years, we've been working with other groups and stakeholders to promote electric vehicles through a campaign called Emotive, the Electric Vehicle Experience. And part of that is bringing electric cars to events and providing the opportunity to test drive these cars. And it's really great to have someone who's never been in an electric vehicle to try them out for the first time. You often get great reactions because people don't necessarily expect the same kind of acceleration or power that you can get from an electric car, because often they think of, you know, a golf cart or something, low-speed vehicle, but really electric vehicles have great performance, great acceleration. So you have people just kind of screaming with great grins on their faces afterwards, saying, this has been so much fun. And that's really what we're trying to spread the word about it, on how fun these vehicles are, how great their performance is, their technology, state of the art.
It's nice and easy, isn't it? Oh yeah. And then driving away we go, right?
You can hear its little engine, it's so cute. It feels so different than my car. My car feels like it's working so hard. When I accelerate fast, whoa! Do you hear it? Speeding up? It's so freaking cute.
It's smooth, yeah. Thought with the electrical it'd be a little bit jerkier, eh? But it's very smooth. Yeah. Yeah, it's really good.
Very fun to drive.
This is really nice, yeah. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's my business, but still. Be a lot better for the whole world if they got rid of the combustion motor.